Hello everybody, got a knife review for you today. It's a Rough Rider Canoe pattern. Now I know straight away that will be problematic for some people. It's a Rough Rider, it's made in China, it's not a case knife. But I don't propose to get into that debate in this video. I've set out my thoughts in an earlier video in quite some detail. What I do find interesting though is in the States, this knife we're going to have a look at today, a lot of people would consider it to be a dress knife. The sort of knife they'd carry rather, if they were wearing a collar and tie, a suit. I have heard people refer to this kind of knife as the knife they'd carry if they were attending church. And in the UK that's just a bizarre idea, that you might have a particular kind of knife that's suitable to take to church. But this is such a knife, and as I say, a lot of people would consider it to be a dress knife, the sort of knife you might slip in your waistcoat. So let's get to the desktop and have a closer look. Okay, so here we have the knife in the usual Rough Rider packaging, the sort of denim blue box with the guff about Teddy Roosevelt's handpicked soldiers, which is all clearly intended to make the knife look much more American than it is, being that it's made in China. So, comes in the usual little Johnny bag. Here we have it. It's canoe pattern, so the handle is almost symmetrical with the shaped bolsters at either end. This one has the smooth bone scales, 3 brass pins, 2 blades, 2 back springs, brass liners, no central spacer. The overall length open is 6.2 inches, which is about 157 millimeters. Just wipe the paw marks off the blade. The large blade is 2.5 inches from the tip to the handle, about 64 millimeters. And it's about 2.25 inches from the tip to the start of the cutting edge. Just for size comparison, we've got the usual Victorinox Spartan copy, and as you can see they're very much in the same sort of size bracket, although you get a slightly beefier blade on the Rough Rider. The small blade is still quite a decent size. This costs £11 in the UK, about €13.30, or about $18.30. Although for the dollar price, if you're in the States, I'm sure you can get them cheaper. The fit and finish for an £11 knife is quite good. All the parts fit together smoothly. There is a very small gap just under the edge of that scale, but in this price bracket I can't really see them discarding that scale for such a small gap when it's fitted together. It's 440C, and on the blades we have the usual stamps for Rough Rider. We've got the horseshoe logo there on the ricasso. Then on the flat we've got 440 razor sharp steel, and on the tang there we've got RR045, which I believe is the model number, and China. What's the edge like? Well, to be honest, out of the box, it's only okay. Does cut, but it's a bit rough, a bit toothy. And in fact, just to the naked eye, you can see that the terminal bevels, it's a hollow ground blade. The big blade is quite shallow hollow grind, and the smaller blade is more pronounced hollow grind. But on the big blade, the terminal bevel, they're not entirely symmetrical. It's quite a small bevel on this side, but on the other side it does spread out quite wide as it comes around the belly. And in fact, to the naked eye there, you can see quite a bit of raggediness. I'll see if I can drop in a close-up here. So it's not altogether surprising that the factory edge is only okay. What I did do on the small blade is I gave a few strokes on 1000 grit stone and a few strokes on the Stropman strop, and I've just tidied up some of that raggediness on the edge. What I would suggest, if you're going to buy one of these, I'd be prepared for a bit of a ropey edge. This is the first Rough Rider I've had that wasn't actually razor sharp out the box, and this is the first Rough Rider therefore that I've had to give a bit of a tickle up to. But if you do get one where the grind lines on the bevel are quite coarse, you might want to take it back a bit further than 1000. You might want to take it back to a 600 grit, then an 800, then 1000, and then strop it. And that will enable you to take out those coarse grind lines on the bevel. At the moment, that looks quite shiny to the naked eye, but if you put it under a lens, you can still see the grind lines quite clearly. All I've done is smooth off the tops and take some of the frilliness, some of the toothiness away from the very apex. But then, part of the reason why we keep buying new knives is because we like messing with them, we like sharpening them, we like polishing them. So let's be honest, it's no hardship really, is it? So there we have the Rough Rider Canoe in smooth white bone. For £11, I think you get quite a usable pocket knife. Theoretically, it's UK legal, and I get a bit wary saying UK legal now because it's a slip joint and because the blade is under 3 inches. It's not illegal, but if Officer Dibble catches you carrying it somewhere he or she thinks is not appropriate, the fact that it isn't illegal won't necessarily keep you out of trouble. So, Rough Rider Canoe.